Hi, Raleigh Hills readers. It is Mrs. Aurelia, and this week we are going to be reading a book that is really near and dear to my heart, and it is called The Remember Balloons. What I love about this book is it makes me think about what my own memory balloons are, what the memories that I have that I like to share and tell other people are. And it also has me think about all of the memory balloons that I've collected from people that I care about, like my parents, my grandparents, my great grandparents, and all the stories that I hear from students also that become my remember balloons. So while I read this, I want you to think about what remember balloons you have heard from other people, and also what remember balloons you have. Because at the end of this, you will be showing me a memory balloon. You will create a remember balloon that is near and dear to your heart. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you and show you our book for the day. So this is called The Remember Balloons, and it is written by Jessie Oliveros and illustrated by Dana Wulfekotte. I love this book. I really love the use of color in this book and the way that the color represents different memories. So while I'm reading it, I also want you to think about the colors and how different memories have different colors in the book. Let's go ahead and get started. I have lots and lots of balloons. Way more than my little brother. So this shows us the balloons represent memories, and the older you are, the more remember balloons you have. So the older boy that's talking in this story, he has more balloons than his little brother, who has less balloons because he's younger. This one's my favorite, I tell him, pointing to a balloon filled with my last birthday party. When I look at it, I can see the pony again. I can still taste the chocolate frosting. So on this page, the main boy is sharing with his little brother a memory balloon that he has, a remember balloon that's really special to him. And I want you to take a second and look at this balloon and notice the color of the balloon and the different things that are going on. And think about your own memories this way. What do your remember balloons look like? What colors are they? Mom and Dad have more balloons than I do. So why do they have more balloons than the main boy telling the story? Grandpa has lived so long, he has more balloons than all of us together. And the stories he has inside those balloons, they're better than ponies and chocolate frosting. So take a second to look at the grandpa's memory balloons and see what memories he has. What's in your yellow balloon? I ask him. Grandpa's eyes light up. We'd just come back from picking blackberries along the muddy banks of the creek. Our berry-splattered faces gave Aunt Nellie's cow such a fright, she didn't make milk for days. What about that blue one, Grandpa? That's the time I lost my favorite dog, Jack, Grandpa chuckles. I found him chasing butterflies next to the schoolhouse. Only Jack could get me to go to school on a Saturday. So I want you to pause here and think about this memory and the memory that we read on the page before. Why do you think this memory is a yellow balloon of the cow and it getting scared from their berry-filled faces? Why do you think that memory was yellow? And then why do you think that this memory of losing his dog and finding it is blue? I also noticed that there's some yellow in this memory also. What do you think the colors mean? And that one? I point to a purple balloon above his head. Grandpa looks up and smiles, his face alive with remembering. That's the day I married your grandma in the little church on Cedar Lane. We danced that night under the stars, and oh, how I loved her. I love this memory because I just got married last year, and if I were to think about what my remember balloon looked like, I think that purple would be a good color for that one too. I don't have to ask him about the silver balloon because I have one too. That was the day we stood on the dock till the sun went down, feeling tug after tug on our lines. Grandpa and I must have caught 1,000 fish. Grandpa ruffles my hair like he always does. That's one of my favorite balloons. Mine too, I say. So sometimes our balloons are the same as other people's balloons, and their balloons might be the same color as ours or different colors. So the boy and his grandpa both have the same remember balloon of a time that they went fishing together. What is a remember balloon that you have that would be the same as somebody else? Take a second to think about that. But Grandpa's been having problems with his balloons lately. One will get caught in a tree, and he'll tell me the same story over and over. Let me tell you about the Christmas I went to Aunt Nellie's farm, Grandpa says, even though he just finished telling me about it. Have you ever had somebody tell you a story more than once? That happens more and more as we get older. Sometimes we start to tell stories the same because we forget and our memories aren't as good as they used to be. So that's what's happening to the grandpa here. So I want you to think, how do you think the boy will react to the grandpa forgetting some of his memory balloons? What do you think he might do? Other times, a balloon will float right out of his hand, and he won't even know it. It's okay, Grandpa, I yell as I run after it. Every time I almost reach it, but it always slips away. Something's wrong with Grandpa, I tell my parents. He can't hold on to his balloons anymore. Mom looks at me with sad eyes. That happens sometimes when people grow older. See, they all have their balloons there. Even the dog has balloons. A balloon. Grandpa's balloons start floating away faster and faster. Running down streets and up hills, I watch the balloons grow smaller. He finally loses the silver one. Remember, that's the memory that they had together at fishing. I watch it float away until I can't see it anymore. Why did you let it go? I yell. That was our balloon. Then I sit on the sidewalk and cry. I feel Grandpa pat my back, but he doesn't ruffle my hair like he always did. Why are you crying, child? There's nothing to cry about. One day, I go to see him, and all of his balloons are gone. Grandpa, I say, but he doesn't look at me. It'll be okay, Dad says. Look up. See, Mom says. Now they're yours to share. I have new balloons now. A yellow one filled with blackberries and a cow. A blue one filled with Grandpa and his favorite dog. A purple one filled with a wedding day. So now he's the little boy, because he's listened to the stories of his grandpa. Those are becoming his balloons too, and he's getting more balloons added because he's listened to his grandpa and listened to the stories that his grandpa says. So I want you to take a second and think about a remember balloon that you have that you got from somebody else that you didn't have before. One of the remember balloons that I have that I got from my grandma is that she told me that she used to, her mom would make her soup and she didn't like the soup. So she would pour it out the window so she didn't have to eat it. And they lived on the top floor apartment. And one day she poured the soup out of the window and it landed on the head of a little girl that was in her class that was standing below the window. So that's a remember balloon that I have that I think would be like a bright orange color that isn't my memory, but now I have that remember balloon because my grandma told me that story. So I climb into Grandpa's lap and begin to tell him about my new balloons. So now the boy is telling the grandpa the memories that the grandpa told him. There are more balloons. So here the grandpa has forgotten his balloons, but the little boy is going to tell him about the balloons again because he knows about them from the grandpa sharing them with him. So that's a really special book to me, and it's hard for me to read it without crying because I think that it's just such a special book about knowing that we have our own memory balloons and knowing how important those are, and also listening to the remember balloons of other people that we care about. So now I want you to go ahead and there's a template that I have put up, and I want you to go ahead and add into that template and show me what one of your remember balloons is and share that with me. And I will be looking at all of those and commenting back to you. And then as something extra to do, I would love for you to ask somebody, excuse me, about one of their remember balloons and get a new balloon from somebody else. Thank you so much for listening to this week's Read Aloud, and I miss you all very much, but it's been really exciting to be able to share some Remember Balloons of creating these videos with you and to hear your responses back and get some new memory balloons from you all as well. So thank you for doing this week's assignment. I miss you all, and happy reading. Bye.